Hello, and welcome to the David Parker Podcast. I'm David Parker, your host. Thank you for joining me. And I'd like to say thank you to everybody who watch and follow and like my videos. I really appreciate it. And I really hope y'all continue to subscribe to my channel. I really need the support, and it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Today, I want to talk about the mental health crisis that's going on in America. Mental health touches 1 in 5 people, and we have a serious problem with it. We have a story that's coming out of Denton, Texas, where you had the Denton County Commissioner who was stabbed by her grandson. The grandson stabbed her and killed her husband. It's a tragic story. The grandson suffered from mental illness. He was diagnosed as being clinically depressed and paranoid schizophrenic. And that was a very sad story. The grandmother survived, but this was a case where the grandson was staying with the grandparents, and he had mental health issues. And we have another story coming out of Fort Worth, Texas, where a man attacked his mother with a machete. He attacked his mother with a machete and sliced her, and over a domestic dispute, the mother was calling 911, and it was heard in the background of arguing over the phone, and then a yell and scream, and when police arrived, she was laying on the floor with a slice across her stab wound. The son fled the scene and appeared at a neighbor's house. And the neighbor, knowing that the son has mental health issues, was fearing for his life, shot at him, but missed. And he was arrested sometime later, shortly thereafter, by Fort Worth Police. And Fort Worth Police is holding him on an aggravated assault charge. Now, this is someone who suffers from mental illness. He suffers from paranoia and depression, according to news reports. But that is no excuse for what he did. And we also have a story coming out of Nebraska, where a father, apparently in a murder-suicide, killed his wife and 2 kids and then took his own life 2 days after getting out of a psychiatric ward. He has mental health issues. The parents, the wife and kids were living in fear. And the neighbors and everybody know about it because there's police at the house all the time because of his mental health condition. And they recently released him, and after they did, he killed his family and then killed himself. And this is just these are 3 cases, but there are so many more out there where the mental health has caused someone to do something violent to someone else. So, what is mental health? Well, you have different type of mental health. You have people who's clinically depressed. You have people who have anxiety disorders. You have people who suffer from bipolar disorder. You have people who suffer from dementia, schizophrenic, obsessive compulsive disorders, post-traumatic stress syndrome, and many more. But the main one that most Americans suffer from is anxiety. And anxiety is caused from a lot of worrying, stress-related issues, fear of how you're gonna make ends meet, and different things like that. But a lot of people suffer from anxiety, but all people don't need to be treated for it because they're able to manage it. And mental health, one of the things that you have to understand about mental health, it happens in the brain. It has something to do with the brain, and the part of the brain that mental health affects is 3 parts. The first part is the amygdala. The second part is the hippocampus. And the third one is the prefrontal cortex. These areas are the areas of the brain that once stress is put on those areas for a prolonged period of time, that's how the psychologists and psychiatrists will know once they do their testing whether you are depressed or suffer from paranoia or one of the other mental health conditions, because those are the three parts of the brain that is affected during mental illness. And a lot of mental illness has to do with your genes. If you have mental illness in your family, you have chances of developing it yourself. Your environment that you're in helps. It is a contributing factor to whether you develop certain mental illnesses or not. And one of the things about mental illness is that it affects women more than men, 3 times more women than men. But it affects people, when you look at it on a whole, just about evenly. So what could be done about mental illness? Well, they have treatments. The rehabilitation is the first option, to get a person in a hospital so they can get diagnosed to which actual mental illness they have. And once that's done, the proper medication and treatment will be suggested. See, you have to find out first what the mental illness is before you can treat it, because you have a lot of people suffering from different types of mental illness. Everybody that's depressed is not paranoid schizophrenic, and everybody that's paranoid don't suffer from anxiety. So you have different medicines that affect different types of mental illnesses. So that is the first thing to do, is to get diagnosed and to find out what mental illness you have. And the next thing is you would have to follow up with your counselors and your support system. Most people, if they be diagnosed, a lot of times they suggest that you talk to a psychiatrist on a regular basis. And a lot of times the people don't follow up to that point. They don't keep their follow-up treatments and talk to their support group to where they can actually manage their mental illness. Because we don't want to throw everybody to the curb that have mental illnesses. Everybody that have mental illnesses don't do the things that those 3 people did that I referenced earlier. But people are very cautious about being around people with mental illnesses because of that. You know, people that are paranoid, they hallucinate. You don't know what they're thinking. So therefore you are afraid, and you don't want to be around people who are perceived to have mental illnesses. So what we have to do is see what type of treatment actually works. The people that are involved with the person that is suffering from the mental illness, they have to show love and compassion, but you have to be very cautious and vigilant, because you don't want to lose your life. And that's one of the realistic things about this, that you have to understand that you could possibly put yourself in danger caring for someone who have mental issues, especially if it is paranoia and schizophrenic. That is one of the most unpredictable mental illnesses there is, because you never know what that person may be hearing, seeing, or what they possibly be thinking. So there's no one cure for mental illnesses. There's not. You have to keep a person that's have mental problems you have to find the right medication that works. And they have all kind of different medications. And that's what you have to do. But one of the biggest problems with this is that the person with the mental illness, they don't think they have a mental problem. And it's hard for them to stay on medicine when they don't think they need it. And there lies the problem. Why so many people with mental illnesses do those types of things if they are supposed to be on medication. You have a lot of people that are undiagnosed that has mental issues. That's where you have the the men and the women disparity there, because you have a lot of people who have anger issues, which is a mental issue. Because if you're walking around angry all the time, that is part of a condition that's called bipolar. You are nice, you're one day you're mean the next. So we always throw that out there that this person is bipolar, that person is bipolar, not knowing that person truly is bipolar. So mental health is a serious problem. Like, it affects 58 million Americans. And the number is growing. And that is just the number of people who are diagnosed. So knowing that there is no single cure for mental health, and those people suffering from mental health are our loved ones, what do we do then? And that's what, if we all knew, we could solve this problem. But the first thing is to get the person diagnosed. You hope the person stays on this medication, because mental health affects the youth more. From 18 to 26 is the biggest group, and from 26 to 49 is the next largest, and from 50 on up. And I guess at 50, if you ain't diagnosed, it's almost too late, because you're going to be set in your ways, and it's going to be hard for you to go and figure what you're doing is wrong. So anybody suffering from mental health, anybody that has anybody in their family that's suffering from mental health, we're going to pray for you, and we just say that try to keep them on their medication. Show as much compassion as you can, but never let your guard down. Because remember, when they are having those hallucinations, that is not the person you love. It is somebody else in their head. So you have to protect yourself. This is David at the David Parker Podcast. Thank you for joining me.